Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala and I am Dr. Javed Ali from Department of Pharmaceutics, Faculty of Pharmacy, Jamia Hamdard. And today we are going to discuss about a module dealing with the novel technologies in cosmetic products under paper cosmetics. In the present module, we are going to talk about the various emulsion delivery systems, which will comprise of the microemulsions, the liquid crystals, multiple emulsions, nanoemulsions, solid lipid nanoparticles, and nanostructured lipid carrier. The second broad category which we are going to talk about is the non-invasive treatment and the technologies, which include cryolipolysis, laser lipolysis, hair transplant, and cellulite. Other delivery systems such as carbosomes, dendrimers, and hyperbranched polymers and nanocrystals will also be talked about. Delivery devices such as iontophoresis, cosmetic patches will also be dealt with. Coming to the novel technologies, why we are talking about the novel technologies? Because we have been using various conventional formulations in cosmetic day-to-day life. However, newer technologies have brought more safer, stable products, and hence more emphasis is being given on these novel technologies for preparation of various cosmetic products. Latest technology advances has to be incorporated into innovative formulations, and the variety of formulations they fall in special delivery systems like emulsion delivery systems, which comprised of micro, nano, solid lipid nanoparticles, and nanostructured lipid carriers. Microemulsions. Microemulsion is a single optically isotropic and thermodynamically stable system of water, oil, and an amphiphilic. They are homogeneous, stable liquid dispersions of water and oil, and they are stabilized by using an interfacial film of surfactant. The droplet diameter ranges between 100 to 1000 angstrom, that is 10 to 100 nanometer. There are four main components involved in the microemulsion, that is water, oil, surfactant, and co-surfactant. These phases are given in the figure, and generally non-ionic surfactants are used owing to their excellent cutaneous tolerance and balanced lipophilic and hydrophilic acids. In addition, co-surfactant increases the interfacial fluidity and transforms the HLB, that is hydrophilic lipophilic balance of the surfactant to optimal value. In microemulsions, the active ingredient is not suspended but solubilized that make it available for immediate, rapid, and effective absorption. They have a good appearance as they are optically transparent and have low viscosity. Microemulsions can solubilize hydrophilic and lipophilic drugs because of the presence of microdomain of diverse polarity contained by the same single phase solution. The drug can be transported through a barrier when the system comes in contact with the semi-permeable membrane as the drug partitions among continuous and dispersed phase. Based upon the volume of the dispersed phase, the transport and the partition rate of active ingredient, a pseudo zero order kinetics drug release can be obtained. A microemulsion has the ability to enhance the efficacy of the active compound, thereby reducing their total dose and side effects. In cosmetic industry, microemulsions are considered to be ideal as the moisturizing formulation as they provide occlusivity and fulfill the criteria for artistic appearance. In addition, it also serves the ease for removal from the container, ease of application, and adherence to treated area, excluding tackiness. A variety of drugs are formulated in the form of microemulsion. Few of them can be summed up as vitamin E was formulated in the microemulsion form, which enhances the moisturizing effect and the penetration power of the vitamin. Efficacy of the carotenoids was increased by formulating it to microemulsion for the treatment of skin cancer. Pigmentation of the skin is increased by increasing the melanin content of the melanocytes using di-deconoil in the form of microemulsion. Anti-aging microemulsion of tridecyl salicylic acid was way more efficacious as the efficiency of tridecyl salicylic acid was increased. Microemulsion of benzotriazoles and S-triazine was formulated to increase the photoprotective efficacy. Liquid crystals, it is a distinct phase of matter which is observed between the crystalline solid and isotropic liquid states. Although the molecules are arranged in a crystal-like manner, it may flow like a liquid. The thermodynamically stable crystalline phase shows a state of incomplete melting. Liquid crystals are further divided into two groups, which have further subgroups, as given in the figure. Liquid crystals reveal birefractive and dichroism, which enhances the cosmetic appeal due to the colored appearance of the formulations into which they are used. Lipophilic material like vitamins protected from both thermal and photodegradation is attained when built in as liquid crystalline matrix. It was observed that emulsion having liquid crystals has a much slower rate of active release in comparison to those not having. This effect is seen due to liquid crystalline multi-layer structure around the droplet that effectively decreases the interfacial transport of the dissolved ingredient within the droplet. Coming to the different phases of these liquid crystals, they are classified as thermotropic, temperature controlled phase of pure liquid crystals or mixture of them are called thermotropic liquid crystals. The Brownian motion of the molecule increases with the temperature, reducing the order in the material. Depending upon the temperature, whether lowered or elevated, they are further divided into two categories as pneumatic liquid crystals and smectic phases. When the temperature is lowered, the material changes to a pneumatic phase. This phase may be explained as molecules which have no positional order but they tend to point in the same direction. They are anisotropic material whose physical properties vary with the average configuration. If the configuration is large, the material is very anisotropic. Similarly, if the configuration is small, the material is almost isotropic. A special class of pneumatic liquid crystals is known as chiral pneumatic or cholesterol. Both terms are interchangeably used. Chiral refers to the exclusive ability of the molecule to selectively reflect one component of circularly polarized light. In case of smectic phases, smectic is a Greek word meaning soap. This apparently justify origin may be explained by the fact that thick slippery substance which is frequently found at the foot of a soap dish is actually a type of smectic liquid crystal. The major difference from the pneumatic phase is that it shows a degree of translational order that is not there in the pneumatic phase. The molecules sustain the common orientational order of pneumatic, however, they also tend to align themselves in the layer of plane. It was observed that within these planes motion is restricted and different planes are observed to flow past each other. Having increased order indicates that the smectic state is more solid-like than pneumatic. More than a single type of smectic phase is observed in many compounds. 12 types of symmetric phase variations have been acknowledged. In symmetric mesophase, there is no particular positional order is director orients perpendicular to the symmetric plane. In the symmetric B mesophase, also director is perpendicular to the symmetric plane orients. But here, in addition to the molecules, are arranged into a network of hexagons within the layer. Similarly to the symmetric A mesophase, molecules are arranged in the symmetric C mesophase, but here the director is at a constant tilt angle, which is measured normally to the symmetric plane. The symmetric C mesophase is like the pneumatic phase that is having a chiral state, also same as a symmetric C mesophase. The director makes a tilt angle to the symmetric plane. The only difference lies between these is that the angle rotates. Difference lies between these is that this angle rotates from layer to layer from to form a helix. In some symmetric mesophase like symmetric G, molecules get affected by the various layers present above and below them. Hence, a small amount of three-dimensional order is seen. Now, how the liquid crystals are characterized? The liquid crystals are characterized as the positional order. It provides a level up to which an average molecule or a group of molecules may show translational symmetry. Orientational order explains the measure of the tendency of the molecule to arrange themselves in accordance with the director or a long range basis. Bond orientational order, it explains a line combining the centers of the nearest neighbor molecule with not a regular spacing down that line. Multiple emulsions. They are complex systems where drops of the dispersed phase encapsulate smaller droplets that are identical with continuous phase in most of the scenarios, therefore also known as emulsions of emulsions. In multiple emulsions, the internal and the external phases are similar, and an intermediate phase separates the two like phases. The intermediate phase is immiscible with the two like phases. An emulsifier is present to stabilize the emulsions, which are further categorized as primary emulsifiers, and secondary emulsifiers. Lipophilic, that is oil soluble low HLB surfactants, are used to solubilize water in oil emulsions, whereas hydrophilics, that is water soluble high HLB surfactants, are used to stabilize oil in water system. Mainly, there are two types of multiple emulsion: water oil water emulsions and oil water oil emulsion, in which water oil water type of emulsion is used frequently, as shown in the figure. The main drawback of this system of delivery is the stability, which can be surmounted by designing a polymeric gel in the aqueous phase either internally or externally. In multiple systems, for the transport mechanism of solute, two hypotheses have been proposed. The first hypothesis demonstrates that the active ingredient is released in the internal phase by virtue of the rupturing of the multiple oily globules taking place either by shearing or by inflammation. For the second hypothesis, it was established that via the oily membrane encapsulate, active substances can be diffused. In cosmetology, these formulations prevent the degradation of an active ingredient and release it at a controlled rate. In addition, they possess a fine texture and a smooth touch upon application. They serve as an internal reservoir to entrap matter from the outer diluted continuous phase into the inner confined space. They can also improve dissolutions or solubilization of insoluble material. Due to these properties, multiple emulsions protect the sensitive and the active molecules such as vitamin C and E from the external phase, and this process is known as antioxidation. Nanoemulsions, they are colloidal particulate system in the submicron size range, acting as carriers of drug molecules having size range of 10 to 1000 nanometer. They are solid sphere having amorphous and lipophilic surface with a negative charge as shown. In addition, they are solid sphere having amorphous and lipophilic surface with a negative charge. In addition, the therapeutic efficacy of the drug is enhanced and adverse effects are minimized. It is thermodynamically unstable system which can be stabilized by the presence of emulsifying agent. The dispersed phase is also known as internal phase or the discontinuous phase, while the outer phase is also called as dispersion media, external phase, or continuous phase. The emulsifying agent is also known as intermediate or interface. The term nanoemulsion also refers to a mini emulsion, which is fine oil in water or water in oil dispersion stabilized by an interfacial film of surfactant molecule having droplet size ranging 20 to 600 nanometer. Nanoemulsions are transparent because of their small size. Generally, there are three types: oil in water, water in oil, and bicontinuous nanoemulsions. Characterization of nanoemulsions: they are characterized on the basis of flocculation and creaming and cracking, which is a normal phenomena in emulsion system, and phase immersion. The nanoemulsions have gained interest as a potential vehicle for controlled delivery of cosmetic and for optimized dispersion of active ingredients in particularly skin layers. Due to their own bioactive effects. They are preferred over the liposome because they are more stable owing to their lipophilic interior. They have the capacity to reduce the transepidermal water loss, indicating that the barrier function of the skin is strengthened. Nanoemulsion is the area of interest in cosmetic because of their low viscosity and transparent visual aspects with droplet size below 200 nanometer. Also, its surface area allows the effective transport of the active ingredient to the skin. In addition, there is no inherent creaming, sedimentation, flocculation, or coalescence which is observed with macroemulsions. It is quite modern but fast mounting field of application. Emulsion based wet wipes for such application as baby care and makeup removal. Coming to solid lipid nanoparticles, these are submicron colloidal carriers, which are having size range from 50 to 100 nanometer. Substitute to the traditional colloidal carrier system like liposomes, emulsion, and polymeric microparticles and polymeric nanoparticles as well. They are generally made from physiological lipids and dispersed in water or in aqueous surfactant solution. They have small size and a large surface area, and they have a high drug loading, and that's why they are preferred over conventional preparations as such. They are used in cosmetic industry as they possess controlled release properties which improve skin hydration and active penetration and fortification against degradation. They protect the compounds against chemical degradation and they act as a occlusive film on the area where it is being applied. Depending on the type of release desired, can be prepared with a drug enriched shell to have the burst release and for the sustained release drug. These represent a particulate dispersion of solid spherical particle consisting of hydrophobic core of fatty acid derivatives which are enclosed by a layer of phospholipids. Nanostructured lipid carriers. The introduction of lipid nanoparticles named as NLC was done in order to overcome the limitations of SLN, that is solid lipid nanoparticles. The major advantage of this type of carrier delivery system is its ability to incorporate large quantities of drug as a result of formation of less ordered lipid matrix with many imperfections. These are preferred. These are prepared by mixing solid and liquid oil lipids. Three incorporation models have been proposed for these carriers depending on the basis of the type of lipid used in the production. Like SLN, NLCs also has a capacity of preventing the active compound from chemical degradation. In addition, they show high occlusion factor with high level of skin adherence property. A thin film layer is created owing to the particle adherence on the skin, thereby preventing dehydration. Decrease in the particle size increases the occlusion factor that enables NLCs to control the occlusion without altering other properties. Also, by altering the matrix structure of nanoparticle, release profile of the active ingredients can be influenced. In comparison to the microparticle, liquid nanoparticle enhances the penetration capacity of the active ingredient. In addition, the properties of the liquid nanoparticles like lubricating effect and mechanical barrier are desirable in the application of the skincare product as they reduce irritation and other allergic reactions. The appearance of the final product also plays an important role, and lipid nanoparticles make the products to appear white in contrast to yellow, which is more attractive for the customers as well. Coming to cryolipolysis, this is a treatment, a medical treatment, which is used to devastate fat cells. The treatment is based on the principle that adipocytes and most susceptible to cooling or than other skin cells. Treatment involves the controlled cooling under 4 degrees Celsius for the non-invasive localized reduction of fat deposits in order to reshape body contours and is also well known as fat freezing. Now, this exposure to cooling is set so that it causes cell death of subcutaneous fat tissue without apparent damage to the overlying skin. Post 4 weeks of the treatment, the inflammation lessens and the adipocyte volume is decreased. After 2 to 3 months of the treatment, the interlobular septa are distinctively thickened and the inflammatory process further decreases. And by this time, the fat volume in the treated area is apparently decreased, and the septae account for the majority of the tissue volume. FDA approves a cryolipolytic device which is named as the Cool Sculpting, that is being uh, produced by Zeltic Anesthetics Incorporation based in USA for the reduction of flank and abdominal fat in 2010. And also in April 2014, FDA approves this system for the treatment of subcutaneous fat in the thighs as well. Two separate studies were conducted on animal models that demonstrated the decrease of up to 1 centimeter or almost 40% of the total fat layer thickness after a single exposure without damaging the overlying skin. Study involved 10 human subjects, which resulted in 20.4% and 25.5% reduction in the fat layer after 2 months and 6 months treatment. No significant adverse effects were seen because of this treatment, as subcutaneous panniculitis is known to induce with a cold temperature, but there are no such results found during or after the treatment. Although side effects like erythema, bruising, and transient numbness are expected during the treatment, which may be resolved within 14 days after the treatment is over. Nanocrystals are crystals having size in nanometric range, approximately between 10 to 400 nanometers. They are generally used to incorporate and deliver the poorly soluble drugs in cosmetics, as they may provide high penetration power through dermal application. Their mass encircling several hundreds to thousands of atoms that are combined to form a cluster, which must be stabilized to prevent the formation of larger aggregates. An additional advantage with the nanocrystal is that they are composed of 100% drug only, and there is as much no carrier material present in the polymeric nanoparticles. Nanosuspension is formed as a result of dispersion of drug nanocrystals in liquid media, on the contrary to macrosuspension or microsuspension. Generally, by the use of surfactants or stabilizer, the dispersed particles need to be stabilized. Here, the dispersion media may be used as aqueous or non-aqueous media like liquid polyethylene glycol, PEGs, oils, etc. Iontophoresis is a physical process in which ions flow diffusively in a medium driven by an applied electrical field into the intact skin and underlying tissue. Generally, low molecular weight hydrophilic solute at their site of actions are delivered. An active means to distribute active agent into the skin and to attain enhanced cosmetic benefit in a range of skin disorders. Wide application in dermatology, ophthalmology, ENT, allergic conditions, even in cardiac and neurological situations. But its greatest is in the transport of proteins or peptide drugs, which are very difficult to transport transdermally due to the hydrophilicity and large molecular size. Use of appropriate composition of electrical current and the active agent can provide superior results in the treatment of hyperpigmentation, melasma, aged skin, acne scar, hypertrophic scars, cellulite, and many other aesthetic disorders of the skin. Typical iontophoresis device consists of an electrical power source, electrodes, and the active agent in an appropriate carrier, and this carrier may be a solution, gel, or a cream. Basically works on ions, water soluble substances that have a positive or negative charge, and is based on the general principle that like charges repels and unlike charges attract each other. By using a direct current, an atom can be pushed into the skin if the electrode, that is the active or working electrode being used, has the same charge as the ion of concern. That is, a positive ion, that is cation, will be pushed into the skin by a positive electrode anode, and a negative ion anion will be similarly affected by a negative electrode cathode. Disadvantage of iontophoresis is the heat is produced during the treatment, which may result in skin reddening, which would be said was having a regenerating effect on the skin. In modern world, antiphoretic ingredients used in salon treatments include things like vitamins, minerals, collagen, elastin, amino acid, hyaluronic acid, and a range of animal and plant extracts pre-prepared in a variety of forms like gels, serums, ampoules, etc. Cosmetic patches, they are used as delivery systems in the cosmetology and not as simple cosmetic forms. This symbolizes a suitable, effortless, secure, and efficient way for cosmetic applications by means of one of the most adequate, contemporary, and thriving delivery system. Fashionable dermal delivery system that satisfy the body's need for essential vitamins and other important elements, thereby allowing therapeutically active constituents to be transdermally administered. Multi-layered patch, that is the first layer, is a backing layer for protecting the patch from the atmosphere, which embraces the firmly fixed inside layer of the adhesive to the support layer that seldom encloses one or more active ingredient. Categorization of patch, that is patch form, which may be a matrix based or a reservoir based, application for expected result. Maybe you are having moisturizing effect or an anti-wrinkle effect. Structural materials like synthetic, natural and hybrid, and the duration of action, overnight or short time like half-hour patch. Categories of functional cosmetic patches are anti-blemish patch, pore cleansers, pimple patch, eye counter patch, anti-aging patch, anti-wrinkle patch, and lifting patch. Laser lipolysis. This is a technique used for the treatment of localized fat and promotion of cutaneous retraction. Direct laser application to adipose tissue causes fat liquefaction, blood vessel coagulation, and collagen denaturation. Thermal damage induces neocollagenesis and skin contraction. Mechanism of action for laser lipolysis is based on the characteristic principle of selective photothermolysis. The internal system of control energy aims to reach two chromophores, that is fat and collagen. Direct exposure of the target tissues to the laser results in selective thermolipolysis and the thermal denaturation of collagen fibers, maintaining the septal architecture, contributing it to increase in cutaneous retraction. Outpatient techniques performed without hospitalization of the patient. Coming to hair transplant, surgical techniques that moves hair follicle from a part of body called the donor site to a balding part of the body known as the recipient site, primarily used to treat male pattern baldness, also used to restore eyelashes, eyebrows, beard hair, chest hair, pubic hair, and to fill in scars caused by accidents or surgeries such as facelifts and previous hair transplants. Application is in androgenetic alopecia, eyebrow transplant, frontal hairline lowering, or reconstruction. If donor hair numbers from the back of the head are insufficient, it is possible to perform body hair transplantation. Disadvantages are hair thinning, commonly known as shock loss, although it is temporary. Bald patches are also common as 50 to 100 hairs can be lost each day. Post-operative hiccups have also been seen in around 5% of transplant patients, and other side effects include swelling of areas such as the scalp and the forehead. Scalp itching, scratching will make it worse and cause scabs to form. So let us summarize what we have learned in this present module. In the present module, we have talked about the novel drug delivery systems such as nanoemulsion, microemulsion, soil lipid nanoparticles, and most importantly, nanostructured lipid carriers, which have significant cosmetic applications. We have gone through the techniques such as cryolipolysis, iontophoresis, laser lipolysis, which are recently explored for various cosmetic applications. Therapies like cosmetic patches, hair transplants are there which can contribute substantially in enhancing looks and appearance of a person, but they do have their own limitations. Thank you.